Welcome everybody to the Bhagavad Gita study series. We're studying the 8th chapter titled Akshara Brahma Yoga, the yoga of the imperishable Brahman. Akshara means imperishable, Brahman is the supreme consciousness. Even though this is called Akshara Brahma Yoga, this chapter really does not talk about the indestructible, undecaying Brahman. It actually talks about what is called Krama Mukti, that is liberation in stages, as opposed to Sadhyo Mukti. So it's a roundabout path of liberation that is obtained by Saguna Ishvara Bhakti. Nishkama Saguna Ishvara Bhakti. Nishkama means without desires. Saguna Bhakti means worship of the bhakti or devotion towards God with attributes like Krishna, Rama, Shiva, like that. As usual, we would like to acknowledge Swami Paramarthananda Saraswati for the traditional rendering of Vedanta as it was done for over 1,000 years, starting with Adi Shankaracharya. We'll say a small prayer. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Salutations to the lineage starting with Lord Sadashiva, with Adi Shankaracharya in the middle, and continuing up to our immediate teacher, Swami Paramarthananda Saraswati. So we are in the final portion of the 8th chapter, and here what Bhagavan is discussing, he is talking about two things. The whole entire universe is the manifested nature of Maya, and after Pralayam, what happens is all these resolve into what is called Maya. And he says everything that goes through cycles, like we saw that day, manifestation is day, and night is resolving into unmanifested state. That is the Maya. So the entire beings, they're cast forth during day and resolve into Maya at night. So this is what happens. We saw this in the last class. Even Brahmaji's life, even though it's very long, even that is finite. So if you aspire to go to Brahmaloka and become Brahmaji himself, even that goal is finite. There's only one infinite goal, that is reaching the Nirguna Brahman eventually. That is reaching God, Ishvara. So at the coming of the day, all manifest beings proceed from the unmanifested. The entire universe appears. At the coming of the night, they dissolve into what is called the unmanifested. And Bhagavan then goes on to say, these are the same beings, they go back and forth all that during a day and come back at night. And Bhagavan here, he says, so the manifested is the visible form of the universe, and then there's the unmanifested, that's the Maya, into which they resolve. But then there's a higher unmanifested state. Parastasmatu bhavonyah vyakto vyakta sanatanaha yassa sarpeshu bhuteshu Nashyastu na vinashyati. But higher than this unmanifested Maya, there is another eternal unmanifested existence. This is called Brahman, or the consciousness, which does not perish even when all beings perish. Okay, so this is where we left. And the definitions are: manifest matter is called Karya Prapancha. That is, it has a cause. The Bhagavan, like the spider spinning the web, Ishvara is both the cause and the material cause and the instrumental cause. So manifested matter is called Karya Prapancha. Unmanifested matter is called Karana Prapancha. That is, it is the Karya is the result, Karana is the cause. So the result of this Maya is this manifest matter. Then the higher unmanifested existence is the Brahman, the consciousness principle, which is considered the intelligent of the entire universe. The Ishvara, as we know, it is Maya plus consciousness. That is Ishvara. It is the ultimate thing. It's a pure consciousness plus the universe, the material or Maya is Ishvara. So Maya, when it manifests, it becomes material universe. Then at the end of at the pralayam, it goes back into Maya. Then comes back as material manifest universe, then goes back into Maya. That's so Maya plus consciousness is Ishvara. God. That's what we call God. Okay, till that it's clear. So the entire chapter Krishna is trying to say, you can worship Ishvara, Saguna Ishvara, but it's a long route. Therefore, worship Nirguna Ishvara. That is, and how we worship is by tuning inward, because that consciousness is you that sees it. Avyaktoksara ityuktaha tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante taddhama paramam mama. The unmanifested is also called the imperishable. Okay, so the unmanifested is also called the imperishable. It is known as the supreme goal, having reached which one does not return. This is my supreme abode. So the, here he says the unmanifested, he uses the word tas. Abhyaktokshara iti uktaha. Iti means tas, it is called Abhyakta. Avyakto Akshara, the unmanifested, is called the imperishable. Iti Uktaha is known, is thus called. Why does he say tas? Because in the previous shloka, it is said that it is not destroyed when the beings are destroyed. Therefore, it is called the Akshara, the imperishable. That's the name of the thing, this chapter. So there's another eternal existence which does not perish when all beings perish. Yatsa sarva bhuteshu nashyastu na vinashyati. Even when all the beings are destroyed, destroyed means what? They get resolved. Na vinashyati. This consciousness is never destroyed. So it is called thus. So this iti yam prapya na nivartante, having reached which one does not return. Na nivartante, does not return. Yam prapya, having attained which. Tat dhamma paramam mama, paramam mama. That place is my, the abode is my supreme residence. So that state of Brahman is the Bhagavan Krishna says, I have that superior form, the consciousness. That is my actual state. I am showing this inferior form to you, but that is my supreme state. Okay? Purushassa parapata bhaktya lapyaspananjaya yasyantastani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam. That supreme Purusha who resides in all beings and by whom all this is pervaded can be attained by undivided devotion. Ananya Bhaktya. Bhaktya means bhakti with no other object. Para Purusha, that supreme Purusha. Bhaktya, Ananya Bhaktya Labhyaha can be obtained by one, that can be obtained by undivided bhakti, devotion. What kind of Purusha is this? Yasyanta sthani bhutani, that which resides in all the beings. Yes, anta means inside, sthani resides, bhutani, which resides in all the beings. Yena sarvam idam tatam, by whom all this is pervaded. By this Ishvara, pervades everything, by whom all this is pervaded. This chapter is generally a chapter on Saguna Ishvara Bhakti, right? This is Bhakti of God with attributes like Krishna, dark and complexion, all that. But this shloka alone is talks about the Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti, undivided attention. So Bhagavan tells in the middle of the chapter, um, he talks about Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti. Because why? Seventh chapter is Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti, and we'll see in the ninth chapter it is Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti. In between, Krishna, for the sake of completion, includes Saguna Ishvara Bhakti and tells Arjuna it's a roundabout route, so do the easier route, which is the Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti. Even though it looks daunting, that is actually the easier route. And just like in chapter 6, Bhagavan gives a clue of how to reach that formless Brahman. Remember, whenever you say, oh, worship the Nirguna Brahman, Nirguna means without attributes. How can I'll just look, stare into outer space and just see, oh, that is Brahman? It's very difficult to concentrate your mind, right? So how do you do that? Bhagavan here gives a clue. Remember in the sixth chapter also, he gave the clue in how to worship the Ishvara with the Nirguna Brahman, because the Nirguna Brahman is inside you. So, yada viniyatam chittam atmanye bhavatishtate nispruha sarva kamepyah yukta ityuchyate tadha. When the fully controlled mind rests in the Atma alone. So when you are seeing, how do you meditate? You see that you are the observer. This observer is that consciousness. That is how you meditate on the consciousness, by meditating on the inner Atma. Because the inner Atma, inner space, is same as the outer space. It's one full continuum. Okay, so that is the trick to Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti. Once you know the trick, it becomes very easy, Bhagavan says. So that he's again telling here. That which resides in all beings. So this consciousness resides in all living beings. So focus on that. Is it clear to everybody, this point? It's a very important point. So here, Krishna concludes a contrast of two possible destinations of a human being in this portion. So in this portion, what does he? Two goals for people. Some people just want worldly things, others want something higher, God. And he concludes that there are two things, world and God. World is finite. All the pleasures of the world are finite. And we saw it. Dukkha mishratatvam. It is mixed with sorrow. Atriptikaratvam. Never fully fulfilling. And bandhakatvam. It is bound to cause bondage, because you get addicted to those pleasures. And the destination of return and non-return. So these three are talked about. When you worship the God, it's non-return. If you want to go to heavens, you return. Okay, is that point clear? Even the heavens, you have to return back. But if you worship God, you attain mukti. This is what Bhagavan is trying to say. So far, Arjuna asks 7 questions. Krishna answers 6 questions immediately. And then he talks about the significance of remembering God at the time of death. And when you do that, it is called Krama Mukti, because Mukti in stages. You apparently go to Brahma Loka, and where you get educated not by ordinary gurus. Sakshat Brahmaji himself, with his 4 heads, he's talking non-stop. 24 hours you get lecture. And things are, you never get tired, you never fall sleepy. You're getting the knowledge from the highest, the best person possible. And then you get liberation. But doing this Krama Mukti path is very difficult, because you have to live your prana through the top of the head in a certain way. You have to have great yogic powers. So Bhagavan says, instead, he'll say in the 9th chapter, it is Susukam Kartum Avyayam. It's very easy, the Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti. Now, Bhagavan is going to talk about 2 destinations, Krishna Gati all destinations below the Brahmaloka. And Shukla Gati, Krishna means dark, Shukla means white. So the dark path, Gati is destination, dark destination, and the white destination, and the bright destination. That is Brahmaloka. Shukla Gati takes you to Brahmaloka, from where you get educated by Brahma and attain Mukti. And finally, you'll talk about the glory of the Nishkama Upasaka, who attains Kama Mukti, the yogi. Okay, so these four shlokas, they're one after the other, they have to be read together. Um, I will just go over that and then we'll look at shlokas one after the other. Yatra kale tvanavrittim avrittim chaiva yoginaha prayata yanti tam kalam vakshyami bharatarshava Agnirjyotirah Shuklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vidhojanaha Dhumo Ratristata Krishnaha Shanmasa Dakshinayanam Tatra Chandramasam Jyotihi Yogi Prapyana Nivartate Shukla Krishne Gati Hyete Jagata Shashvate Mate Yekaya Yanavrityam Anjaya Pattate Punaha. Okay, first one. Yatra kale tvanavrityam avrityam chaiva yoginaha prayata yanti tam kalam vakshyami bharatarshaba. Oh, Bharatarshaba. Rishabha means bull, oh, bull among the Bharatas, which means the best among the Bharata. I shall tell you of the path by which departed yogis never return and the path by which they return. One is called the Shukla Gati, that is the path by which they never return, the other path by which they return. Yatra kale svana avrittim. Avrittim chaiva yoginaha. Anavrittim means they don't return. Avrittim means they return. Prayata yanti tam kalam vakshami bharatarshaba. I shall tell you that the departed prayata yanti tam kalam, the departed yogis. So they never return the path by which they return. Shukla Marga is the brighter path that leads to God. Eventually, Krishna Marga is a darker path, which means going to heavens. Will go to your destination, the heavens, where there will be pleasures, but after enjoying the pleasures, one has to return. Heavens are also finite. Even so, Bhagavan very clearly says that in a previous shloka. So even when you go to all the heavens, you have to eventually come back. So let's go to. So he says, Ha Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha Naravartinorjuna Mamupetya tu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. All the heavens, they are subject to Brahmaloka. Even Brahmaloka, if you go somehow, go there by some other means, you will eventually have to come back. But if you go through the Kama Mukti means, there Brahmaji is waiting to give you lecture and then you can exit out. But if you done great merits and you go to Brahmaloka, after the merits get exhausted, you have to come back. Okay. Okay. Agnir Shuklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vidhojanaha departing by that bright path, guided by the presiding deities of fire, light, daytime, the bright fortnight of the moon, the 6 months, the deity of the 6 months when the sun is in the northern hemisphere. The knowers of Brahman, those who meditate on the Saguna Ishvara, go to Brahmaloka. So here the knowers of Brahman refers to those who meditate on the Saguna Ishvara. So it doesn't refer to Nirguna Brahman. And they go to Brahma Vido Janaha, means those who meditate on the Saguna Ishvara. Gachanti Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma. So they go to the Brahma Loka. Okay, so this should not be interpreted literally. So in the Mahabharata, Bhishmacharya is given the boon that he can give up his life whenever he wants, right? Because he's a vow of celibacy. So he was given this boon. You can give up your life whenever you want. So he is lying in the bed of arrows and he wants to wait until the winter solstice, which happens December 21, when the sun enters the northern hemisphere. And that is considered an auspicious time because the deities of the 6 months where the sun is in the northern hemisphere, they are apparently deities for everything. That is, these are presiding deities, they call it. That is, there's a deity for fire, Agni Devata, deity for light, Jyoti, daytime, bright fortnight of the moon. And 6 months where the sun is in the northern hemisphere, there's a certain deity which is governing that. So it's considered auspicious. So dying at the time is also considered auspicious. But that is not what he is referring to here. He is saying, when you depart with the idea in this Kama Mukti path, where you go to Brahmaloka, do all this yogic powers, get your prana all the way to the crown, the murya, focusing on the eye between the eyebrows and getting it out of the head, and then you will go to Brahmaloka, and from that you will learn from Brahmaji and go. That path is what is described here. And all these deities will preside you apparently when you are going on that path. The jiva, the Sukshma Shariram, actually goes to the Brahmaloka guided by these deities. So the celestial tour guides on the journey, Agni, then Jyotihi, light, daytime, so Agni, Jyoti, Ahaha, then Shukla, which means the bright fortnight of the moon. Then Shanmasa Uttarayanam, the 6 months when the sun is in the northern hemisphere. So these are the deities. Shukla Paksha just means the presiding deity of Shukla Paksha, the bright fortnight of the moon. Other deities, Agni, Jyoti, Ahaha, Shanmasa Uttarayanam also, they're also deities. Okay, is it clear? So you have to read it as departing by the path guided by the presiding deities of fire, light, daytime. It's not like they're guided by fire. There's fire and light when you're going there. No, it's guided by the deity. It's very symbolic. And Shankaracharya explains 8.24 because this can create confusion. They go to Brahmaloka and gain knowledge of Brahman gradually. It's not like straight shot into Mukti. They learn from Brahmaji, 24-hour classes every day. This is called Krama Mukti. Krama means in succession, stages. Brahma Vidaha, meditators on Saguna Ishvara. And this doesn't mean knowers of Brahma. See, the word Brahma can be used to denote Brahmaji. Chaturmukha Brahmaji, one with long beard, 4 heads, all that, right? We saw the picture previously, the Chaturmukha Brahmaji. So we saw Brahmaji, right? This is Chaturmukha Brahmaji. And even so, they go to, then it can mean Brahmaji, it can mean Brahman, the consciousness, but here, it's not very often used. Here it means Saguna Ishvara. Brahma Vedaha here means Saguna Ishvara Brahman. So you have to interpret it based on context. If you interpret it as Brahmaji, it will be chaos and disaster. Understood? For the knowers of Brahman, there is no karma to create a birth or travel to other lokas. They become Brahman. Once you know Brahman, there's nothing else to be done. You are liberated. So you have to interpret it very carefully. Is it understood? It's a subtle point. Brahma Vidaha. So look at this thing. Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahmaha. Brahma Vidao Janaha. The knowers of Brahma. Brahma Vidaha means those who know Brahman. So if you know Brahman, you are immediately liberated. You do not have to go to Brahmaloka. So here Brahma refers to Sarvana Ishvara. Is that understood? So Shankaracharya has to clarify this. So there are a lot of these kind of clarifications done because Sanskrit is a live language. The meaning of the word is interpreted based on context. Okay. Dhumo ratris Krishna षण्मासा दक्षिणायनम् तत्र चान्द्रमसं ज्योतिः योगी प्राप्य निवर्तते. Yet, departing by the previously they say departing, right? Shukla, Uttarayana, Tatra Prayata. So departing by this path, same thing you have to add Prayata. That dark path presided by the deities of smoke, night, dark fortnight of the moon, 6 months when the sun is in the southern hemisphere. When you depart by this path, the yogi attains the lunar light of the heavens. The yogi goes to the heavens, any of the heavens, but then the yogi comes back. Because after exhausting the merit, they have to come back. So it is finite. Here again, Dhoom ha means smoke. Ratrihi means night. Krishna, so this Krishna Paksham means dark fortnight of the moon. Then Shanmasa Dakshinayanam, 6 months when the sun is in the southern hemisphere. So these deities are okay, but they are not stellar deities like the deity presiding the Uttarayanam, which is why Bhishma wanted to die at that time. So he goes to, gets more punyam, goes to higher heavens. It's just a notion. Understood? So yati means one goes. Shukla Krishne gati hyete jagata shashvate mate ekaya yatyana vrittim anjaya partate punaha. These two, you have to add, these two paths of the world, the bright and the dark, are eternal. By the first, one goes to not return again, and by the other, one returns again. So Bhagavan is summarizing that. Shukla Krishna Gati, Ete Gati, the two paths, Jagataha, Shashvate Mate, they are considered to be eternal paths. Ekaya, by the first one, Yati, Anavrittim. So one, by going by the first path, Ekaya Yati, so means going, when one goes by the first path, Anavrittim, one does not return. Anyaya, by the other path, Avartate Punaha, so the one returns again. Is it clear? Bhagavan is just summarizing. Naite Sruti Partha Janan Yogi Muhyati Kaschana Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna. Ete Sruti Janan, knowing these two paths, O Partha, Yogi na muhyati kaschana. No yogi is deluded. Kaschana means anyone. So, na kaschana yogi muhyati means no yogi is deluded. Tasmad Sarveshu Kaleshu, at all times, Kala is time, Sarveshu, all times. Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna, be steadfast. Yoga Yukta means yoked. Be steadfast in yoga, which is meditation, of Saguna Ishvara. Because then, if you're always thinking about God, at the time of death also, you would think about it. That's the meaning. Understood? Okay. So, all the topics are covered. Arjuna's questions, significance of remembering God at the time of death, two goals for people, God, everything other than God. When you think you attain mukti, never to come back. When you want to go to the heavens, other the worldly pleasures and heavenly pleasures, you come back. The two destinations, Bhagavan very clearly says, Krishna Gati and Shukla Gati. The destinations below the Brahmaloka and going to Brahmaloka and getting liberation through Kramamukti. You can go to Brahmaloka and still come back if you go to the Krishna Gati. Glory of Nishkama Upasaka, who attains Krama Mukti, is the last shloka. So notice the tone, everything is changed from Jiva to Ishvara. It's again in the Trishtuk meter. It's sensational. He's glorifying the yogi. He's putting the yogi into outer space. Look again, the 6th chapter is on yogi. Here again, yogi is just sensationalized. Vedeshu yajneshu tapassu chaiva daneshu punya palam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanam upaiti chatyam. The yogi, knowing this, that's the answers to Arjuna's questions, this 7 questions, 8.1 and 8.2 shlokas, goes beyond all punya palam, merits declared by the Vedas. Because the merits declared by the Vedas, they take you to the heavens. But this yogi goes even beyond that, coming from the study of scriptures, by the performance of yajnas, performing austerities, and the distribution of charity. So the yogi goes beyond the merits. You get a lot of merit by doing study of which are study of scriptures, performance of yajnas, worship for greater good, performing austerities, tapas, and the distribution of charity. All this will get punya. But you can go to heaven. But the yogi going through the worship of by Saguna Ishvara meditation, bhakti, meditation on Saguna Ishvara, eventually attains the supreme and primordial. That yogi param sthanam upaiti cha ahatyam, the primordial abode, adi sthanam, the primordial abode, param sthanam, its supreme abode, the yogi attains that. Dhaneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam. The punyam that comes from dhanam, the charity gives great punyam. Even that is finite because it will only take you to heaven. Whereas when you remember Saguna Ishvara, even though it's a roundabout path, you will go to Brahmaloka, get instructed by Brahma. Then you go. That concludes the 8th chapter. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambade Akshara Brahma Yogo Nama Ashtamodhyaya. So we have completed the 8th chapter. Before we stop, I want to give a very brief overview, so to fit things together, of the 9th chapter today. So we can start with the 9th chapter next class. So next class we'll do the Q&A for the 8th chapter. So we'll revise and then we'll start with the 9th chapter. As I said, there's 7th and there's a 9th chapter. They both talk about Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti, but in between the odd chapter, 8th chapter is placed. That seems very surprising. Why is Bhagavan doing this? Because Bhagavan is saying this is also a path, valid path, but it's very difficult path to remember God at the time of death, doing your pranayama, all that stuff. Easier form is Nirguna Ishvara Bhakti. And again, he's going to highlight that in the 9th chapter. It is very similar to the 7th chapter. Look at the portions. Introduction to knowledge of the nature of God, and with and without attributes. Same thing. Nature of God explained, both forms. Nature of God here without attributes. Here in the 7th chapter, nature Nirguna and Saguna Ishvara is explained. In the 9th chapter, Nirguna Ishvara alone is explained. Cause and remedy for human samsara and suffering. Same thing. Two types of bhakti based on motive. Sakama, Nishkama bhakti. Sakama means with desires. I need something, so I worship God. Nishkama means I just get liberation. There's no desire. I want to just be free. And then there's one other topic, greatness of bhakti. So you see, there's a lot of similarities between the two chapters. We'll start the 9th chapter in the next class. That I've stopped.